Hi, I'm Trista Engel, CEO of Paragon Legal, and welcome to GC Sidebar, a short and sharp conversation series with today's most forward-thinking general counsel. In just 4 questions, we cover the legal industry, leadership, careers, and a little fun. Today, I'm joined by Michael Stein, general counsel at Gambling.com Group, a provider of marketing and sports data services for the global online gambling industry. Michael spent a good chunk of his career at DLA Piper, focusing on corporate governance, M&A, and capital markets work for public companies. He later moved in-house and to Las Vegas, holding legal roles at Caesars Entertainment and Everi Holdings. And fun fact, while at Caesars, he negotiated Britney Spears' first residency contract with Planet Hollywood. He boomeranged back to DLA for a year and a half before joining Gambling.com as GC in 2021. Michael, I'm excited to have you. Welcome, and thanks for joining me.
Thank you, Trista. Great to be here.
Let's jump in. What's the biggest challenge you see facing GCs and in-house legal teams today?
I think one of the biggest challenges at the moment is this whole push-pull, both publicly and in the sales channels, for so-called legal tech. Everyone says you must implement legal tech, and if you don't, you are almost a pariah. I think there's so many aspects to consider. One is cost. 2 is the effect on budget and EBITDA, particularly if you're a public company and you're adding costs to your budget. How do you calculate ROI? And implementation. How long is it going to take to implement? How many hours is it going to take to implement? And finally, does it actually do what it says it will do?
What part of your job would surprise people the most?
I think the most surprising aspect of the role, people hear general counsel and they think, maybe the sort of high and mighty lawyer. I think that's certainly not the fact. And in a small company, in my opinion, it's pretty much all hands on deck for anything, that comes up outside of your legal duties. You simply do what needs to be done. Sometimes it's helping HR collect computers from former employees who won't respond. If you're on a business trip, it's, making sure everyone's life's easier and that the meeting runs smoothly. And if there's no admin, that's honestly making sure the meals are right. There's enough coffee and water. There's enough plugs. Is everyone set up? Is the meeting room set up? You sort of do what you have to do above and beyond all the legal work that you are doing on a day-to-day basis.
What's one career moment that changed your trajectory?
I don't necessarily think it's one career moment, but it was certainly one job. As you mentioned in the introduction, my experience with Ms. Spears, my time at Caesars was, transformative, certainly professionally. Caesars had just gone public. They were $20+ billion in debt. They were majority owned by Apollo and TPG. It was a very complex global company with a complex capital structure and debt stack. But it was also the perfect transition role for me to an in-house job. I moved from a capital markets M&A role at DLA. And, I also got to work on entertainment contracts, which was a big selling point to me, especially, being a big music person, which was pretty cool and a lot of fun. And you get to work closely with the entertainment folks who were entrenched in the industry and some pretty big name musicians. We worked very hard, but it was a lot of fun. It really opened my eyes. It was my entree into the in-house practice and how things are really done differently. When at a firm, it was a seminal moment for me in my career.
What's something people watching might not know about you?
Most people know that I have a wonderful and supportive wife and 2 amazing boys, and I wouldn't change anything. Prior to starting my family, I did a lot of hiking and biking and had done Mount Everest Base Camp. I had been to the top of Kilimanjaro and was planning a trip to Aconcagua. But as they say, the best laid plans of mice and men often go awry. And we're sitting in Texas with a wonderful life at the moment.
And the bonus question, who is your favorite fictional lawyer?
Most fictional lawyers are litigators, and you see them in court and they're defending the indigent or the downtrodden or someone who's been duly wronged. I think if you look at it, I have to say Tom Hagen. And if you put aside all of his, the illegal activity for a moment, right? Tom is described as a logical, gentle voice of reason for the Corleone family. I like to think of myself as logical and a voice of reason. When you're on the transactional side and you move in-house, that view of a trusted confidant who's logical and reasonable, and who sort of moves in the background without, making a lot of noise in the foreground, I think can be a big asset.
That was really fun, Michael. Thank you so much for sharing your journey and your thoughtful answers.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure to be here.
All right, that's a wrap on today's episode of GC Sidebar. Catch more great conversations on our website at paragonlegal.com. Thanks for tuning in.